All right, hello everyone. So we're just doing some more Genshin today. We're going to be trying to finish up the writing event with collecting the coins because it only goes for 5 days, so you kind of have to get it done pretty quick. So yeah, we're just going to do that. We're going to do some using resin, stuff like that, commissions, things, and so on. So let's get right to it. All right. Here we go. First off, let's see. Defense. I was kind of shocked that it was only going for 5 days. I was like, sheesh, that's not a lot of time. I told Blaze and he was like, oh, I better do that right now. Cause like, it almost is, what was that? It'll be like over at the end of Saturday. So anybody waiting for the weekend is like, okay, you're out of luck. So. Alright, so let's try this. And try to get these finished so we don't have to worry about them for later.
Time to go. Follow the wind. Wind Strider. Follow the wind. Time to go. Wind Strider. It's fine. Time to go. Wind Strider.
Okay. These are harder than you'd think. Alright, so okay, you may choose 2 characters for this stage. Mist Matt Banisher, thwart the wicked warlocks. Victory or death. Okay. Trial characters, available characters. Let's see. Guess she's really fast and she has more lift, I think, than Kazuha.
Scatter! Scatter! Skyward! Yeah! Skyward! Yeah! Skyward! Skyward! Scatter! Yeah! Skyward! Yeah! Scatter! Yeah! Skyward! Yeah! Scatter! Skyward! Yeah! Scatter! Skyward! Yeah! Scatter! Skyward!
Take it easy.
Okay, well, we got enough points. When I see me, I was like, lean, 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 lean. I was trying to really be in the zone. It's hard. It's one of those things I think it's hard if you're like, because things are like flying at all angles. And if you're not used to using those characters, there we go. We have all the points now for this whole thing, so we're good on that. Test run is good. Still have to do this. Haven't done it yet. Oh, 31. All right. That should give us this. Now the question is which one to pick. Unfortunately, you can't just like pick a box and then it sits in your inventory until you're ready to be like, okay, now I'm using it, but I'll pick yeah, I guess I'll pick this one. We can actually do a wish. Here. See what happens. Let's see. Five, six, seven. Okay, this will be 8, so we might get a pink one today. I don't know. What's our pity at? Okay, here. Last one we got was the Skyward Harp. That was at 8, so our pity's only like 40, so I wouldn't expect to get a 5-star for a while, so this is probably just going to be a blue one. Yeah, I kind of figured. But oh well. That's one more pity on the docket. Find a rank 2. The whole thing is, it's kind of weird. I'm so conflicted right now about my upcoming pulls. Because, let's see, I think... What was the last character I got? Yeah, I pulled for Arlecchino, and I end up getting her and her weapon. And... got somebody else too, didn't I? I'm misremembering now. I'm playing too many gotchas. I can't remember who I got last. Aratoma. Oh, that's right. I got a Baizucon. Because I had rolled for Arlecchino, I got her, and then I rolled for Pity again to see if I would get her again, and I got Chi-Chi. And then it was sort of like, and I planned on rolling on Baizu's banner, so it was kind of like Chi-Chi showed up to be like, oh, you're getting Dr. Baizu, you're getting more Dr. Baizu, I'll come to help. And so she showed up. It's... where is she? Yeah, here she is. Yeah, so I had a guaranteed. I used it on Baizu. That's why I'm misremembering, because originally I was like, oh, I got a guaranteed. I'll use it on Sigewinne. But then Baizu's banner hopped up, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh, he might get put on that specific wish banner. I don't remember what it's called right now. But he might be put onto that, and if he does, he might not get a banner again. And so I was like, okay, let me, roll to get another constellation of him, because he is my main and everything. And so I did that, but that means I used up my guaranteed. And then originally I was going to roll for Sigewinne, but then Emily came out, and Emily is supposed to be good for Natland. But now Natland is so close. And originally I wasn't going to be rolling at all on these banners. I was just going to be rolling on... I was going to get Arlecchino, get Baizu Constellation, possibly, and then wait for Natland. So, I mean, I have the wishes, but I'm kind of at this point of, like, I don't want to roll for Emily and then find out that, oh, there's a Natland character that you really, really like, and you just wasted your wishes on. So... or, I shouldn't say, it won't be a waste. It'll be, you wished on this character, and now there's one that you really wanted, and you might not get them. Which... is not fun. I believe this is Farina's house. But at least this is the house they kind of gave her to live in.
Ad Astra Abyssosk.
I picked the spear today because
Thank you for completing
I
today.
was going to give that spear to Emily.
Ad Astra Abyssosk.
But if I don't get her or decide to roll for her, and in the end it might end up being just a whole situation of like, oh, I'll just do a 10 pull on Sigewinne and Emily's banners, and if they come home, they come home, and if they don't, they don't. Oh well. All right. I mean, I guess what I could do.
This realm is true. If you ever have any...
Let me see. What do we want to do? I guess what I can do is do a 10 pull on Sigewinne, see if she shows up. If she doesn't, that's fine. I'll just say that at least I did a 10 roll, and then hopefully by the time that Emily's banner comes out, we'll have some idea of what the characters look like for Natland. Like, they'll go and they'll give like a preview during the live stream for 4.8 near the end or something, and then I can kind of make my decision then. Because on one hand, I don't want to miss out on Emily and be like, oh, she was such a good character, you should have rolled for her, because she's really useful in Natland. But then on the other hand, be like, oh yeah, you rolled in her and got her, but now you're missing out on like a really cool character in 5.0. And the thing is too, the Natland Archon will be coming in 5.2. So
Count me in!
you know, and I definitely want to get the Archons. Also, too, if they do a Dragon Sovereign again, like they did for Fontaine, I want to be getting that character too. So.
Solidify!
Strike a pop!
Remember, health comes first.
Hey there! Watch out! A proper send-off from the Spina with love. Coming at you!
Order guide you. Gather! Mind the side effects.
Let the world collide! Watch out! Fire! Well, with rocks. Coming at you! Coming at you!
Oh, we got some good ones there. I'm assuming these artifacts are going to be good for Natland, but of course we're going to get there and they're going to have at least one new...
This is order.
One new artifact to name with 2 different types of artifacts.
Hey there! Hey there! Attack! That's the way. Coming at you!
I will have order. Gather! Taking a turn for the better.
Strike a pose! Time to shine! Hey there! Hiya!
Ooh, this one's a crit damage. That'll probably be useful. Right?
Order guide you.
Yoo-hoo!
Remember, health comes first.
Coming at you! Watch out! A proper send-off from the Spina with love.
I will have order. Solidify.
Let the world collide! Hey there! Tap! Hey there! Hiya!
Oh, it's okay. It's excuse me. It's kind of funny because it is it's a coin collecting event. And you would think, oh, that's not too hard, right? You run around the obstacle course and you collect the coins, no big deal, right? Well, it's a little more difficult than that. It is collect the coins while possibly using characters you're not used to, because you can't use your own, you can only use the ones they provide you. And you have to dodge all this stuff that's coming flying at you.
A bitter pill to swallow.
Also, too, they have
This is order.
where it only runs for 5 days, which I was surprised by. I was like, 5 days? That's it? Like, that doesn't even give the people who can only play on the weekend time to do it.
Hey there!
Order guide you. Seems like an emergency.
Watch out! Attack! That's the way.
I mean, it's gonna be going for 3 more days. In a few hours. So, anybody who hasn't done it, it's like, run through those 6 stages real quick, because if you don't...
Mind the side effects. This is order.
You're gonna miss out on it, so...
Strike a pop! Watch out!
Also, hi, Zono. Nice to see you.
Watch out! A proper send-off from the Spina with love.
Remember, health comes first. Order guide you.
Let my name echo in song! Hey there! Hey there! Hiya! Aha! Ah! Cha!
Oh, you never heard Navia in English? Yeah, her voice is actually pretty nice. Yeah, she's voiced by Brianna Larson.
Nice to meet you. I am Navia, the esteemed president, leader, commander-in-chief, executive director, and boss of Spina di Rosula. You strike me as somebody special, a person of character. Something tells me that this is the beginning of a long partnership between us. Perhaps even as long as all the titles in front of my name.
Yeah, that's her group. This is what I was talking about before, how Navia is head of the mafia. Because it really is. I mean, it's definitely not as, like, dark as the mafia. Like, they're not doing, like, organized crime behind the scenes. But, I mean, you look at the guys wearing the suits, they look like they would be 1920s mafia. I guess if you were to put it into perspective, Navia is kind of like, or Navia and the Spina di Rosula is sort of like, they're mafia, but they're leaning on the good side of the mafia. Spina di Rosa. Yeah, I guess. Where's my dead go? Yeah, because I think, like, I think it... The last word is definitely rose, but I think rosa is rose in like Spanish, while Rosula is rose in like French, I think. Oh, I mean Baizu. See you right here. Baizu main. And I am proud because he was my favorite character since pretty much day one. I saw his picture even before I got to him in the story in Leeway, and I was just like, yep, that's the guy.
Watch out! Hey there!
This is order.
And then I naively thought to myself, oh,
Hey
he'll
there!
come out in like 1.2, right? The thing is that my thought process at the time was, okay, Genshin came out and they're missing Dendro, but they have some Dendro enemies, so they'll probably put in Dendro as a playable element within like the first 6 months, right? They just haven't finished it yet. 2.5-ish years later, they finally put it in. And then it took until the end of Sumeru for Baizu to become playable. I think the only people who are more patient than Baizu mains are like Dainsleif
Will
mains.
have order. Stabilize.
But even with that, we've kind of known
Fire! Well, with rocks.
that Dainsleif wouldn't become playable until like we got to the whole Conria Celestia ending bit, which would be after Shesnaya. So with Baizu, it became really like, is he gonna become playable? They're not gonna kill him off as an example, are they? Let's see. Baizu was introduced in 3.6.
The doctor will see you now.
Because what happened... yeah. He was introduced into 3.6. Because what happened was, we got into Sumeru, and the first Dendro characters were Tignari and Collet. Then we went through a few patches of Sumeru, and then we got to 3.4, and Yao Yao, and this was Lantern Rite. So Yao Yao was introduced alongside Alhaitha. And then 2 patches later, Baizu and Kaveh came out. So, poor Baizu. He's not the latest Dendro character that goes to Kirara, who came out, you know, kind of shortly after. But the thing is back when I was young and naive about the whole thing, I thought to myself, oh, okay, they're gonna cover all the characters that we've seen in game first, and then they'll start releasing characters we never saw before. Because like they start off with pretty much all of these, and they did Venti and Klee, and then they did Tartaglia and Zhongli, and I was like, oh great, okay, so the characters we haven't seen so far that are characters that aren't playable yet that we haven't seen so far, it's like Ganyu, Zhao, we'd never seen Hu Tao before, so it kind of stopped there. But then they put out Albedo, and I was like, okay, they're putting out a character we've never seen before. Which made sense because, you know, he's connected to Dragonspine, basically, and all that jazz. So it worked, but I was like, wait a minute. What happened to Baizu? And then I asked that the next 2.5-ish years until he finally became playable.
It's just some chronic problem I have flaring up again. Nothing to worry about.
Of course, it's still a pretty big bummer, though, because he
Order guide you.
got introduced and became playable, and I was like, oh great, he'll finally show up more in the story, right? He'll have more of an important part instead of just side NPC every once in a while. No, it's actually gotten worse. He showed up as a spec during this last Lantern Rite. The Lantern Rite that should have been his. Because, I mean, he's from Chenyu Vale. I don't want to complain too much because I could go on about it for hours. But they keep showing him up with 4 stars. Like, first it was Kaveh during his debut at 3.6. Kaveh got all the attention. And then the Lantern Rite came out, and it was...
Hey there! Coming at ya! Ha!
And it was Gangming that got all the attention, who is also a 4-star. You know? I mean, the last chance, I guess, that we have is that next year is going to be the Year of the Snake for Lantern Rite. And a lot of the Baizu mains and the Baizu, you know, fans are sort of like, okay, that's going to be his time, right? He's never gotten a chance to shine. He's always been pushed to the side. That'll be like his time, right? And then somebody said, oh, just watch. They'll invent some other new snake character for that year. And Baizu will never get any attention ever. Which is if he had just gotten what he should have.
That tingle?
From the get-go, I wouldn't be complaining. But he just gets gypped so often. It's so weird. And it makes me very sad. But, anyway. It is what it is, I guess. I mean, at least he's playable and they didn't just randomly kill him off or something to be mean. I could just imagine if that happened. I don't know if I would quit the game, but I would definitely be really upset.
This is order.
And I'd probably stop buying their stuff.
Hey there! Coming at ya!
Because it would start giving me the idea of like, what's the point?
Watch out!
Picked the wrong test subject.
It would start getting into one of those situations of like, why bother pulling for characters if they're just gonna die?
A bitter pill to swallow.
The doctor will see you now.
You know, which I'm so glad that Genshin did not follow Honkai's past, because Honkai stories, they just keep killing off characters.
Order guide you. Gather.
Yoo-hoo! Coming at ya! Coming at ya!
Mind the side effects. A bitter pill to swallow.
Nice. Good. We need some. Oh. Ooh, this is a good piece. The crit rate is 31. The crit damage 25%. That's a doubler there. Yeah. But I think my three
When on the road,
top
one
favorite
should
Genshin
take ample
characters
time to...
are Baizu, Pantalone, and Ayato. I just feel happy when I see them, or crumbs of them, or whatever, which makes it kind of difficult sometimes because I'm sort of like, okay, Baizu hardly gets any attention. Pantalone was seen like once in official capacity and hasn't, been in the game yet. And Ayato keeps ditching us during events, which at some point I find kind of funny.
Stabilize!
The show begins! Hey there!
Like he's so focused on being the mysterious man behind the scenes, he can't stay still. He's gotta keep wandering off. It's like, Ayato, come back here. Where do you think you're going? I know I was doing the Fontaine film event, and we got to the part where he was supposed to play the older brother in the movie, and then he decided to give his part to Chevreuse because he was like, "Oh, I want
Coming at ya! Hey there!
like I want Ayaka in order to be able to talk to other people and have a good time." And I think Chevreuse would be better for a better person for the part, and so on and so forth.
Hey there! Coming at ya! Aha! Cha!
And Frina was like, "Oh, okay, if that's what you want, or if that's what you think is best." And I was like, "Ayato, are you ditching us?" It's so funky. Because I'm like, there he goes again. He barely went off and talked to Nibulette and stuff like that, which I unfortunately didn't know about until he'd already moved and left, so I never got to see really what he talked about with Nibulette. And he didn't come back, but I was like, oh. Darn you. I know a lot of people were upset with Ayato's story quest too, because they were like, they could have done so many things with his story quest, and then they turned it into an NPC wedding that never even happened. They turned it into NPC wedding, and then they also he kept ditching us in that too. Like, what I think would have been a really nice Ayato story quest would have been, because the thing is that with Ayato, he became playable and showed up at the very last bit of Inazuma, and it was implied that he had been doing things behind the scenes in order to help out the resistance and things like that. However, we didn't know about any of that. And I think it would have been really cool if they had done sort of a, like, how to put it? If they had done a sort of like flashback, like we come to meet him and we sit down with him and we ask him like, oh, you know, where have you been all this time when everything was happening? And he kind of smiles and is like, oh, well, let me fill you in. And then we sort of do a kind of flashback where we're able to move around and we sort of follow him on what he was doing during those specific times. You know, like, what was he doing when Toma got arrested? What was he doing when we were off with Teppei and you know, when we were off with Teppei and running through the Fatui delusion factory. I'm trying to think of the right word. Like, it's not a center. It's a delusion factory. Like, where was he during all those things? Because I find that really interesting. And I know that the whole point was that they were supposed to be trying to show off his cunning during his story quest, and I think they did, but it was just kind of distracting when he kept disappearing. But, yeah, I think he is one of my favorite characters, because every time he shows up, I'm like, hey, Yato! And I mean, he gets a lot more coverage than Baizu does. Or at least one of my characters I like gets coverage. From what I've heard, Pantalone is... Or, let's see, what was it? Doctori showed up in Sumeru, but then he didn't become playable. Instead, Scaramouche did, and so people started going, well, when's he gonna be playable? You know, when's he gonna show up? And there was like, there's a rumor going around or something that he and Pantalone are gonna be playable in Jesnaya. So I actually have my Pantalone funds right here. I'm kind of proud of them because I've been saving them for a while. If we go here, I have 172 ready for this guy. And the thing is, once he comes out and hopefully is playable, I will probably use all of that on him. Yeah, that's a little far from where we are. I mean, no. How about we just walk up this trail. This is kind of the last patch for Fontaine. We have 4.8, but that's going to be, I think, mainly in the new temporary area. So it's a good opportunity to just sort of enjoy Fontaine and walk it instead of warping everywhere. It's kind of funny because I know what's going to happen because it happens every single time a new region comes out. Is we'll go to Natland and I'll be like, wow, look at Natland, it's so cool and everything. And then at some point around like 5.1 or 5.2, my brain will go, I kind of miss Fontaine. Because we were in it for so long, and then suddenly it's just like, oh, we are not in it anymore. We haven't seen it for like 2 months or 3 months.
Gather.
Shower me with pigs! Watch out! Coming at ya!
Back here, you drops. They're like, we're out of here. We're just rolling down the hill. This way.
Watch out! Nah! Haha! Hiya! Nah!
I guess with Emily, what it's gonna have to happen, I guess, is I'm gonna have to see her, like, in the game, hear what she sounds like, what's her personality like.
Nah! Ha!
So on and so forth. And if I like all of them,
Coming at ya!
I mean, I also had a plan that I would roll to 90 on her banner,
Haha!
or I should say roll to pity on her banner. And then if she came home, great. And if I lost the 50-50,
Hey
then it would be, I had it guaranteed for Natland. But again, it has to depend on who's coming in Natland. Like, if the only starting 5-star character for Natlan is that, Issei? I think her name is. You know, if she's the first one in Natlan, I'm like, okay, I can roll for Emily without worry because I'm not really that thrilled from what I've seen of Issei, which is only like a picture. Because we don't have anything about, like, her kit or anything.
Coming at ya!
But
Stabilize.
The doctor will see you.
Taking a turn for the better.
Strike a pose!
Ta. Ka. Ba.
that is it for right now. I know they have a lot more, but it is not showing it on the map because I guess they don't want you to wear yourself out and completely decimate one type of monster in your world. Yeah, because I think I calculated it out before, and I think if I pull to pity, so basically this minus 90 plus the fates I'm gonna get before Natland, I will end up having 180 for 5.0. But again, that is if I actually want to roll on 5.0. I know with the characters, it's kind of gone back and forth actually with the different regions. Like, for example, Inazuma came out and I didn't roll for Kazuha. Then Sumeru came out and I rolled for Tignari. And then Fontaine came out and I didn't roll for Linny. So it kind of feels like my Pokemon choices. But like for the longest time, the starter Pokemon I picked would actually follow a pattern. Where it went water, grass, fire. Because it was Squirtle, Chikorita, Torchic. And then we got Piplup, then Snivy, and then Finicky for X and Y. Then after that, I think it got messed up a little bit. Whoosh. Fontaine is really pretty. The one thing though I wish is that they gave us more Fontaine trees for the teapot. Because when you go into the teapot, the only tree they gave you is those tall kind of sculptured ones that you see in the city, like those in the distance there. That's the only tree we got. And I'm just like, what about these little pine trees? What about this tree? What about... We did get trees from Chenyu Vale, but those are from Chenyu Vale. What is this? It is mallow wood. What is cypress? Do we already have these trees for teapot? I'm second guessing myself. Here I was maybe complaining about our lack of trees when we had them. They're just reused from other regions. Alright, now I gotta check.
This realm is...
I know they have... That it. Thanks. I know they have these because this is where the those oranges are coming off of. So they have those. They don't have any birches. These are leeway trees. Bamboo. Rocks. Bushes. I know this is for Inazuma, but it does kind of look like the tree. Uma. Got these from Sumeru. This tree is actually really pretty. It lights. It glows. It's really cute, pretty. Oh, hi, Jeannie. Oh, they're pretty, aren't they? I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, because this is the only like tree that's clearly Fontaine. But I was hitting some of the trees and I was like, oh, that's cypress and that's mullow. And I was like, wait a minute. Are those trees in... Do we have those? I got called confused. We have... wood from the mallow tree. And lindenwood. Ash. Yeah, we should have like these 3 trees for our teapot. Cypress. I could be getting confused because the cypress kind of looks like the cedar, which I believe you can get in your teapot realm. It also kind of looks like the fir tree, so I don't know. I'm confused.
If you ever have any
Yeah, I'm gonna replace that tree and that tree, that the light green one. I saw that we might be getting like one more tree from the 4.8 event, but it's like a paper tree or something. I don't know. It also could be like an inch high, so it might not actually even be worth anything, but thank you for coming, Jeannie. I'm just getting myself confused about wood.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember. But where are those who share the memory?
Oh yeah, Siegewine's event came out, which I'll have to do that pretty soon. Or I should say her web event came out. Yeah, people saw this and they were like, where's Kave? I was like, people were asking, like, where's Kave? Why hasn't Kave been on a banner? And I'm like, he's on the standard banner. That's where he is. Heavens, that's ball. People? Oh yeah, for Zhongli. Yeah, I got Zhongli. It's kind of funny my story of getting Zhongli.
Boats are made for transferring commodities back and forth, and those that come across Liyue tend to stay a while. So it is where many things come to settle.
My story of getting him is kind of funny because what happened was his first banner came up and I rolled for him and I lost the 50-50 and I got Mona. And I was very disappointed because even though I pulled and scrounged up Primo Gems, and I pulled every single day after that. His banner ended, and he didn't come home. And I was bummed. Ironically, I did a 10 pull on Albedo's banner just to do it because I was so upset about the whole Zhongli thing that I pulled a 10 pull on Albedo's banner. He didn't come home, but then I pulled a 10 pull on Ganyu's banner just to see if she showed up, and she did, and she ended up being my best DPS for a very long time. But that's besides the point. Basically what happened was that Zhongli had his reruns, and I would always be saving for another character.
Where do you want to go next? If you'd like to see Liyue's tourist spots, I have a few references.
Or I would drop a 10 roll on his banner and he just wouldn't show up. So I was like, okay. And then, what was it? I think it was
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember.
Tignari's banner. Tignari and Zhongli were rerunning at the same time. And I went and I rolled on Tignari's banner. I got Chi-Chi, but I had saved 180 for him, so I kept going and I got him. And then I popped over, I think it was Tignari. I popped over to Zhongli's banner, rolled, and I got Chi-Chi again. And I was just like,
Breathe.
I can't believe this is happening again. And then I did another 10 pull or whatever, and he showed up.
So it is where many things come.
He showed up at 19 pity. And I was just like, he finally literally took pity on me like a gentleman and showed up. And what's so funny about it is I got him, and I finally got him, and I was so semi-stunned about it. I didn't know what to do with it.
Tastes the same as
I had him in my game, but didn't have him in my party. So I was just like, I don't know what to do with this man. Because I'd gone so long without him. And then I realized one day, wait, he has a really good shield. Why isn't he on the team? And so I put him on there, and he's basically almost never left. I mean, sometimes when I switch around to different parties, I have Baizu on there for certain, but not him. But he's on my story team, but he's on my battle team, he's on my he's not on the birthday party team. But it's just so funny to me. I actually only have him at C1, and I don't have his weapon. But I'm thinking that if they ever do those banners that they had with the Mondstadt one, and it comes up and his weapon is on the Liyue one, I'll probably roll and see if I can get his weapon, because it's a lot easier to get the weapon you want on those banners than it is to get it on the actual weapon banner. I also want to get Ayato's weapon, because the weapons that are it's back here. The weapons that are actually good for Ayato don't really look good on him, because he's supposed to have that kind of curved Japanese kanata design. And I think, let's see, what do I have on him right now? Yeah, I have this one, which one doesn't match his color scheme really at all, and two, it looks very strange when he does that whole idol of him pulling it out and being like, oh yes, I am a cool samurai, and it's like you're wielding a European sword. Also, his regular sword looks really cool. I used to have, let's see, where is she? I used to have this one on him, which looks a lot better, but apparently it's not really that good for him. He needs to have a sword that it's more crit rate like this one. So let's go swimming. So I might, it kind of depends on when those banners show up and who's around, and who's, you know, what other banners are happening and so forth. One thing I wish they had let us do for this teapot would be to swim through it. Like on our own, not go through these. Because like when you look at the map, you know, it looks like you're supposed to be able to swim all through this area. Like all around here. But you can't. The only way you can actually get in the water is there. And then the rest of the islands are surrounded by these barriers. So I was disappointed. I was like, oh, I wanted to swim underwater. Apparently there's a way you can do it. Like you can, at least there used to be. There was like you could glitch it or something, but I don't know. I don't know exactly how well it works or anything. Or even if it's a good idea to do. You don't wouldn't want to hurt your game. I love these hot springs. They just look so relaxing. I hope that when we get to Natlan, because Natlan is supposed to have natural hot springs, that we get another hot spring item for our teapot. That would be really nice. I'd also like to have like maybe a furnishing that has like a lava feature. That would be really cool too. Considering that out of pretty much all of the areas we've covered so far, the only one we haven't covered is lava. Which they've shown that there is lava in Natland. They showed it during the last live stream during the preview, so it's kind of funny. It's like if you have the medium-sized character sit, the water basically goes up to their chins. And if you have the smaller characters sit in the water, they're like basically like their noses barely stick up out of the water. It's actually kind of cute. It's funny too because if you sit on a bench that you put in the water yourself, the characters actually sit deeper. Normally, you would only be able to sit on the stairway here, which, I mean, it's okay. But it's only like just the stairway. It's just so cute.
Hiya! Nah.
Let me up on the house. Like, get out of my way, you Eves. Let's see. Yeah. I kind of wonder, everybody was talking about like, oh, where's Kave? Where's Kave? I'm kind of wondering where Chevris is. Because, I mean, like, she was on like one banner and disappeared. And I still don't have her.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, though, to find out about Sigewinne. Because there's this whole big, story behind like how is it that she looks so human, why is she so different than the other Melusines, was it on purpose, is that just how she was born, what's going on with all that, and that'll be exciting to find out. That starts 25th.
I do love Spina di Rosula's logo. It was designed by my mother. Have you noticed how it's shaped like a heart?
Yeah, this one's on the 25th too, so that'll be in the evening. Yeah, it's so difficult to decide, because I know when the characters were first shown for Fontaine, people kind of did I want this one and I want that one and stuff like that. And for me, Sigewinne was one of the ones on my list that I was like, ooh, I want that one. But she came so
My
late.
time with the Spina has taught me that carrying an unreliable weapon is worse than not carrying one at all.
That fits so well. It's like Navi in the back of Cloran, like, yep, I'm ready. I got my weapon. It's just like Sigewinne for me came so late, and now my mind is already partly in Natlet. But again, as I mentioned before, if we see the drip marketing for Natland and it's a character I'm like, okay, not thrilled about, or then I'll rethink my rolling and all that stuff. All right, I think that's about it.
I really want to go traveling. I don't mind where we go, as long as I have my friends with me.
We did that. We did the event. Could try doing some of this. I don't know how well we're gonna do, but yeah, the 25th is a Tuesday. I think it's the Spiral Abyss refreshes on weird times. Built by the normal attacks group, the 20%. A tally will be kept when this character's normal attacks hit opponents. The tally can increase by up to once every 0.1 seconds, and once it reaches 3, a shockwave is unleashed at the opponent's location that deals true damage to nearby opponents. The tally will be reset. What are we looking at? There you go. I was like, where did they put the monsters again? Let That'll be good. Could try that one.
Time for takeoff. Here we go. Shower me with praise.
I will have order. Solidify.
Let the world come alive.
The wrong test subject.
Let's get down to business.
Wouldn't gliding be faster? Think you can get away? Brace yourself.
This is order.
To the ferry.
Allow me.
Let the mighty be humbled.
Another test.
A proper send-off from the Spina with love.
That tingle?
Coming at ya.
That tingle?
Bow your head.
Pick the wrong test subject.
Yeah, I know when Nivulet first came out and people heard the "cha" he did in English, people were like, "Why is he yelling like that?" Because they had envisioned him as such a elegant, upstanding gentleman, and they were like, "Wait a minute, what's that "ya" out?" However, you think about it, Nivulet is a dragon, so he's gonna be making some noises.
A bitter pill to swallow.
Let my name echo in song. Yoo-hoo!
Stabilize.
Here we go. Wouldn't gliding be that time for takeoff? Yeah.
Order guide you. Mind the side effects. Remember, health comes first.
Think you can get away? Strike a pose! Let the world come alive!
Pick the wrong test subject.
I will have order.
Rest and rebuild! Taurus, bring refuge! Illusion shattered!
Settle.
Coming at ya! Ha-ha!
Be sanctified.
Picked the wrong test subject.
Bow your head.
Try.
An oversight on my part.
Fire! Well, with hey there! Watch out! Billowing surge! Hold the line!
Test subject.
The doctor was singing.
Seems like an emergency.
Yoo-hoo! Brace yourself. The insolent. Time for takeoff. Where are you? Let's play.
This is order.
Let my name echo in song! Strike a... Brace yourselves!
That one was pretty quick. Oh, I got another follower. Thank you for the follow.
Coming at ya! Allow me!
Settle down.
Leaving so soon.
Let the mighty be humble.
There we go. I think we'll leave for now because there's no reason to do the whole thing in one go. Yeah, it's not gonna reset until for 25 days, so. Also, when I move to the next floor, they'd just be like, "Oh, you want to change your party?" So I'd have to reorganize them all again anyway. So, but there we go. Oh, also, Jeannie, if you're still here, I answered some stuff on my Pantalone for you with your Bean blog. If you're still interested or have the time to RP. I did that today. I was talking to Zono before and I was like, you know what, when I look at my 3 top favorite characters in Genshin, it ends up being Baizu, Pantalone, and Ayato. I just feel happy when I see them. I feel kind of happy when I see Kaya too. But like, I know the one time, what was it? We came back for, I think, the Windbloom Festival for the first time, and Kaya walked up to us, and I just got hit by such a giant thing of nostalgia. I just wanted to have Lumine walk over there and give him a big hug around the waist and just be like, Kaya, I missed you. Because he's so tall and yeah. He's so tall and kind of not thin. I think it's like the middle piece around his waist gives him a somewhat of an hourglass shape a little bit. So he just looks nice to hug. Like you could wrap your arms around him and actually, give him a good hug and not my arms are completely stretched out, I can't reach around you hug. Although I guess with Kaya's whole thing, maybe that's more of a nostalgia, because I also kind of feel similar to a lot of the Mondstadt characters. Like Mondstadt, since we got started in it, it feels like home. Which is a very interesting choice that MiHoYo made, that we started in Mondstadt and not Liyue, because like Liyue is fantasy China and this is a Chinese game, so you would think that he would start off with there, but I guess they wanted to give more of the fantasy vibe to start off with, and Mondstadt is definitely the castle and dragon and knights and medieval fantasy vibe. Liyue has more of a ancient China fantasy vibe. What do they call those? The Daimes, I think? Oh, Kai and Lisa were my first mains when I started. Good choice. They are both very useful. I never really trained my Lisa that much or used her in the beginning, because I had like a whole bunch of other characters, but don't fall in the rock. The one stone is like stuck in the cliff. But I definitely used Kaya in the early days. Who do you main now? If you don't mind me asking. I love the music in the upper part of the chasm. It's just so relaxing. I think it's a lot of those like deep type of noises in the music. Very peaceful. Kind of a mix of a few characters, to be honest. I find myself playing as Ito, G, Nebula, and Baizu most of the time lately. Sounds like a good team. Yeah, that's the one thing I guess in Genshin, you know, that people like picking mains and being like, ooh, who's your main and everything, and it's, you know, great to be able to pick a favorite character and everything. But when you really look at it, Genshin really isn't a game that's set up for mains. Like, you shouldn't be running around with one character on your team. Because the whole thing is all about, like, oh, elemental reactions, and have a healer, and a DPS, and a sub-DPS, and a shielder, and so on and so forth. And, so, in a way, I guess it should be more of like, oh, who's your main team versus who's your main. Although, I guess it doesn't really matter. Whichever characters you like to play with and you find enjoyable, that's good. That is all that matters. Also, yay, Baizu. As a fellow Baizu haver, I salute you. I can't salute you with my model. I don't have that capability, but I'm saluting you from behind the model. I know that happened the other day. I was watching another Vtuber for the whatchamacallit. I was watching another Vtuber for the drops for Twitch, and I noticed that she had, I wasn't following her yet because I had just clicked on her because she was a participating channel, and but I was watching her, and then I saw that she had Baizu on her team, and I was just like, okay, yep, she gets my support. She's using a Baizu. Energy recharge piece. Because the thing is it's very weird, because sometimes I'll be like watching people on Twitch, like other VTubers or other, you know, voice actors and stuff like that, and I'll be watching them play, and I'll find out like that not only do they not have Baizu, but like they didn't even do his story quest, and I'm just, it gets me kind of like suspicious, like, okay, do you not have him because you were saving for somebody else, and you don't find the need for him, or did you not roll for him and do his story quest because you have something against him that is unwarranted? It's kind of sad too, because in the English version, I think he first showed up and they gave him a very like gay sounding voice. like stereotypical gay, because there's nothing wrong with being gay. I will tell you right now, there's nothing wrong with being gay. In fact, I support you as an ally, all LGBT people. You do you and be awesome. But I know that there is like this really stupid, I'll call it stupid because it is, really stupid prejudice that like, ooh, gay people or gay person equals this. And like, I have no idea where that whole thing got started, and it's really creepy that it was a thing. But I think it's another one of those, oh, Baizu is mean to Chi-Chi and is abusing Chi-Chi because he is gay. And it's like, whoa, hold on, that is prejudice talking. You know, you be quiet right now. And so whenever I see people who like don't have Baizu for unknown reasons, I start being like, you're like, you're not being prejudiced against gay people, are you? I mean, now if they don't like snakes or something, then I'm like, okay, yeah, you don't like snake. That's fine. There's a lot of reasons why you don't have to like Baizu, or you don't have to have Baizu or anything. I just get kind of like, is this sus? One of those maneuvers? So basically what that boils down to is when I see someone who actually has Baizu and is using him, I'm like, yay! There's somebody who at least decent in that compartment. Also too, it's like, Baizu, he's awesome. Yeah. To be honest, I don't think he gets as much hate in like the other areas, like for example in the Chinese or Korean or, you know, any of those places. He only seems to get a lot of flack from the English section of the fandom, and I think that's because of how they didn't really seem to know what to do with him in the localization. Because they'd be like, you listen to his voice as he kind of shows up throughout the story, it changes. Not a new voice actor or anything, but like they kept trying to change and alter his delivery. And like sometimes he'd sound like really gay, and other times he'd sound like really sus, and like Paimon would call him a weirdo and stuff like that, and it would just be like, what are you doing? And then finally he came out and became playable, and he's like, whoops.
Mind the side effects. A bitter pill to swallow, taking a turn for the better.
Coming at ya!
And oh, he's up there probably. He did not come down to join his friends. He's up there trying to snipe me. Anyway, got stuck on the plant. But basically what happened is he came out and it was like, no, Baizu is super good guy. He is not Doctori 2.0. In fact, you find out that Doctori isn't even a medical doctor. He is like a research science doctor. So, which differentiates him even further from Baizu, who is an actual medical doctor, physician individual. You know what? This. Let's see. I was gonna go to Monster. And not to mention, he's like super kind, super caring. He puts so much of himself out for people. But he's also very smart because, unlike what he has said about his predecessors, he plans on staying alive. So he's not going to stretch himself so thin that he ends up accidentally, making himself so sick he passes away and leaves Chung Chung all alone. Up here and look for a treasure chest. But like I said, I think what also too what happened with him was that he was in the story but wasn't playable, and so people could only make assumptions about him. People could only make assumptions about him, and then they put out Hu Tao, and she has a voice line that basically says things like, "Oh, that guy," but it never goes into really what she's talking about and what she means. And since she became such a good DPS, a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna believe exactly what Hu Tao says at all times." And so they started thinking that oh, Baizu is a horrible person, and that Hu Tao is hates him because he's hurting Chi-Chi and she's trying to save her from him, and yada yada yada. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so when you really get down to it, though, it ends up being Baizu is super protective of Chi-Chi because of Hu Tao. He's had to call the cops on Hu Tao, basically the Millilith, to get them to go find her and Chi-Chi and bring Chi-Chi home because Hu Tao keeps trying to bury her. Which apparently she said she stopped that, but she keeps teasing about the whole thing, and it's just that's not really the best thing to be teasing about. I mean, you're literally trying to murder a child, and I don't care if she's not quote quote alive. Oop, there's a chest. She's moving around, she's talking, and she does not want to be dead, so that's alive enough. This is so nice that they actually shows where the chests are now.
Quick, let's pack it up.
But that's the thing, is I think Baizu, he was shown in the game, and then they really didn't give enough context for him, and then it festered. And so then when he came out, they had to backtrack so hard. They basically kind of, at least in the English localization, it kind of almost seems like they reconned him. Which, I mean, I like him the way he is right now, how he's, so kind and really, determined. I think he is an awesome character. Where? Oh, there it is.
I'm loving this treasure hunt.
These chests don't give any primo gems, but it gives me an opportunity to finally 100% Mondstadt.
Whoa! What a stroke of good luck!
I mean, I guess we did get that White Day picture of him, though, so... So he did get at least a little content, which was nice.
Quick, let's pack it up.
Eesh, there's a lot of chests around here. A couple of them probably respawn during, between, patches, too, so.
I really want to go traveling. I don't mind where we go, as long as I have my friends with me.
The one good thing, though, I guess, with Baizu now is that since he is playable, you know, and his story quest is available, people can kind of see the real him and not, you know, oh, what people have talked about, have said or basically lied about. It's kind of nice how with the small lamp grass, how when you run by it, it makes a little sound. And it puts that little sparkle. I think only, maybe it does it once? No, it does it a couple times. Yeah. Well, we'll just have to head... Me too. We'll just have to head pat him when he's sitting down. Well, he and Chang Sheng, they deserve head pats. They do good. Oops. I meant to take a picture. I forgot my treasure compass was there. But yeah, the thing is also too is like I can see why they would go and make Baizu like super nice doctor, really caring gentleman, because one, they do not want to allude that he's like Doctori 2.0, because Doctori is like a bad guy. And also you have Pantalone, who has a similar design to Baizu, and Pantalone is definitely probably supposed to be the more sussy version, since he's a Fatui. So So they did, since they don't want, they probably didn't want to make the two characters too similar, especially since they both kind of have a similar vibe to them. I think that's what I think. I will admit, sometimes it's hard to find people to interact with on my Baizu account, though, still, because I get worried about people thinking he is something that he's not. And so I don't follow a lot of people. And since I don't follow them, they don't know that I want to interact. So, but it's fine. This is a magnificent tree. I mean, the new ones in Sumeru are definitely bigger, but it is still very cool. I hope when we get to Natland, we learn a little bit more about Vanessa, considering she's apparently from Natland. That would be cool. Oh, thanks, Deanie. I try my best. It's sometimes it's difficult with RPing characters because like you want them to be canon enough, but you also need them to be flexible for the situation that they get put in. Because like for example, Baizu in canon is probably never going to talk to Dainsleif, for example, or even Jean for that matter. So you have to kind of think about like, okay, well, how is this going to work? How would he react to this? The bad you haven't read the manga. No, I mean, I haven't really read it all the way through. It gives some interesting background story or backstory for the characters of Mondstadt, but basically that's it. Because it only goes to Mondstadt, it doesn't cover Liyue or anything. Also, it has been said by Mihoyo that manga technically isn't canon. That's why when Doctori showed up in Sumeru and he looked so different from his manga counterpart, it was like, oh, that's one of the things they were talking about. You know, that, oh, this one isn't exactly canon, so don't expect to see what's in the manga to show up in the game. It's kind of the same thing that happened a little bit with like Collei, where there were some people who liked Collei in the manga, and in the manga, where is she? In the manga, Collei is like, she's just escaped from Doctori. She's been trying to protect herself. She's really like edgy and she's been traumatized and she's kind of miserable. I mean, there's a whole part in there where Amber tries to help her and she tells Amber after Amber's picked, because Amber has to like grab her and they fly away on Amber's glider to get away from Fatui or monsters or whatever. And Collei then goes and tells Amber, those clothes I touched, burn them. Because Collei believes herself to be dirty. Because of all the horrible things she's gone through and how much pain and trauma and that she's had to deal with. So when she became playable, there were some people who were like, oh no, I like the edgy Colette. But the thing is, it's like Colette has been able to be with Tignari and with Sino, and she's been finally able to start healing and recovering and not be so guarded all the time. So she still, of course, has issue, has you know, problems. I mean, you don't get over trauma like that just, you know, in however many years it was, 2 years or something. But it's like she deserves to feel happy. Also, too, she's just the cutest little bean. Like she got her big purple eyes and purplish pink eyes. It's like she's just such a cute bean. I know her voice actress calls her a chicken nugget, and she says if you get a full C6 Colette, you get a chicken tender. But it's just so cute. So, also it's really cute too on how a lot of her kit is very similar to Amber's. You know? Like she goes and she has like Cullen Amba, which is kind of similar to Baron Buddy. I mean, even its name, Cullen Amba, is like Amber. So, and of course she's also, you know, a bow user like Amber and stuff. It's really cute. See what's the you sort of have to get creative in that regard. Yeah. I was bummed it wasn't on going for some reason. I guess I was kind of expecting it to be similar to how Honkai Impact 3rd, there's chapters that go along with the game. Also, I can't take Web Dory seriously. He looks like he's his face. Aw. I guess he does kind of, doesn't he? I never thought of it like that. Oh, poor Web Dory. Yeah. I know the manga only gets to like a certain point and then...
Oh, it's just some chronic problem
it's just like
I have flaring
a
up again.
prelude
Nothing to worry about.
to it. They did continue it, so... I'm not entirely sure why. It might be kind of cool, but again, they are going to be creating an anime someday. So maybe that'll be kind of like the... Well, I don't know. The anime is kind of unique, or the idea, because I heard that they were going to do sort of a, like back in the past, so we could see a lot of the characters from like 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago or whatever, and not, we're focusing on the traveler and their sibling and stuff. Because you think about it, it's like, why would you want to watch an anime
When on the road,
from a
one
game
should take ample time
that you
to
just
pause
or
and
why would you
appreciate
watch an
the
anime from a
wondrous scenery
game
along
where the story
way.
was the exact same thing
You're
as in
about
the
to
game?
collapse, aren't you?
It's like watching an anime movie, and the only thing they did was take the first season and turn it into an anime movie. It's like, I already know this story. That's like, I'm watching the movie because I liked the series, but it's just the same story. It's okay. True, at that point, it would be like watching a playthrough. Yeah, and it's like, I've already done this. Why would I want to watch it again? So I really am hoping that it's like, even if it does follow the Traveler or Ether and stuff like that, hopefully it'll be kind of a, here's what Ether or Lumine were doing besides what you know from the game. You know? So like, they, for example, arrive in Mondstadt. They see Venti and Dvalin. They go to the city, or say they meet Amber, and then they go to the city, and then maybe they split up from Amber, and they are like wandering around the city, or meet up with, treasure hoarders or something. I don't know.
Where do you want to go next? If you'd like to see Liyue's tourist spots, I have a few references.
But just basically do something else other than what we've already seen. Especially in this sense, because like when you have a manga, seeing it change into an anime is like, wow, we get to see it in movement. That's so cool, with voice actors and all that really cool jazz. You know, that's like really nice. But when it's already in a game format, which means it's already moving, it's a whole like, oh, we've sort of already seen this before. Now, if they went and they took the manga that they made and that became the anime, I would be up for that, because then we could like, especially if they like extended it, so you would have like, ooh, we're talking about Vanessa and we're talking about Venti and we're talking about, you know, Diluc's past and the Drake and all those, you know, people. And then it extends from there to be like, oh, we're going to talk about, you know, Zhongli and Guizhong and, you know, all those. So, I don't know, it's an idea. We'll have to see. I mean, it's been a long time, so there are some people who are kind of like, I don't know if it's even going to happen anymore. However, from what I heard, the anime company that's doing it, or the studio, does take a long time to do their stuff, but apparently their stuff comes out really good. So it's one of those worth the wait. Type of ideas. I would like to go in the Goth Hotel someday. Yeah, I think that's the group. I believe they're the same people who do a lot of the Fate series, and it usually comes out really nicely. So I find this funny. He's like, oh, the Knights can't handle the Storm Terror issue properly. Storm Terror has been dealt with for like, what, how many years are we on now? 4? Like, that whole thing is over, buddy. You guys can go home. I'm still surprised that these guys are allowed to be here, because, I mean, you think about it, and it's like, okay, Signora was a Fatui. She attacked Venti in front of the church in broad daylight with the witness, and made off with his gnosis. And yet, for some reason, there's not enough evidence that she did it. Like, the Traveler was there as a witness and saw the attack, and Venti is still alive. It's like he could tell you who attacked him. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter now, because I mean, she's no longer with us. Yes, Penzolin does have something to do with that hotel. He is the one who paid for it. I don't remember where it was said, I think basically the reason why Goth is letting the Fatui basically take over his hotel is because Pantalone showed up and paid up front and was like, here, have this giant amount of money and let my guys stay in this in the hotel. And the guy was like, okay. I just kind of wonder about the whole like political and law aspect of it. This is really pretty. I really like the stained glass windows. There's the wild parties in there. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, considering that, you know, a lot of times the Fatui try to come across as like, oh yes, we're big and tough and rough and we're willing to do anything. And then on the other hand, you turn around and they're just like, I want to go home. Can we like I know in a lot of my threads when I try to do Pantalone, if he shows up in Mondstadt, it usually is because he's like making sure the Fatui that are in the hotel aren't causing so much damage that he's gonna have to pay for it. And be like, what are you guys doing? Do not put holes in the walls. I have to pay for that. That is an interesting idea. Because I wonder if we could hear anything. Go out for a second. Because I know like if you get close to the angel share, you can hear like through the door and through the walls, like people like people talking and scraping chairs and things like that, because it's like, oh, you know, they're having a nice time in the bar. I don't know if you'll be able to hear anything from the hotel though. It'd be nice to be able to go into the hotel at some point. No. Turn that all the way down. We might. There are birds and the windmill going. I think the only sound effects is the windmill. It would be funny though if you came over here and you just heard like from inside. Really?
Tsuki territory, you hear?
Although I will admit that I did hear. I did hear a long time ago, somebody had mentioned, and I thought this was an interesting idea, that they said...
It's all for my daughter.
That they said that, oh, maybe Genshin will have bookends. That, like, the story, or, like, the Tibet chapter will have started in Mondstadt, and then we'll go through the whole thing, and then when we get to like to go to Celestia or whatever, that'll be in Mondstadt. A lot of people have mentioned, or I've seen people mention too, of this dark piece here in the lake and like around here, and they're kind of wondering of, is there some sort of hidden secret down here? Because usually when you let's see. Yeah, like when we got to Inazuma, this dark area here is all an underground this. So it would be kind of neat if someday we come back here and it's like there's a secret underground or underwater bunker or something. There's also I think yeah, I think Mondstadt is the only land currently that doesn't have a oops. It doesn't have any extra layer underneath. I mean, there's some caves in here, but like as you can see, they're not even it's not even clicking to be like, oh, I'll show you what's under here. It's just flat. Or not flat, but like there's no cave under area. So to just kind of drop some of what I think's gonna happen, and this doesn't have anything to do with like leaks or anything like that. This is just my own personal thoughts of stuff we've heard about in game, because they have mentioned the Mondstadt harbor, which I'm assuming is going to be like here. But I think what's going to happen is, because they mentioned, let's see, we're finishing up Fontaine, and then it said you can go to Natlan through Sumeru. So Natlan is either here, which they'd have to extend a little bit more because you can kind of see it sort of bounces back. So there's not really any room to put Natlan there, or they're going to put it in the south, which there's a lot more room in the south here. So it also would make sense if Natlan, which is like the hot, would be the land of Pyro and is the hottest, would be completely opposite of the land of Cryo, which would be Shiznaya, and Shiznaya would be up here in the north, with the idea that we would get to it by coming back to Mondstadt. They put in the Mondstadt harbor, and then we would go from the harbor, hop a ship, and go up to Shiznaya. And then, of course, you know, you got Celestia and the Abyss and Conria and all those things, which I'm assuming we'll be getting to Celestia at some point, because, where is it? I have to get up higher. Oops. Do not jump down the giant gorge. You can make it by Zoo, it's okay. Hey, where is it? Where? Pardon me. Here's the... There it is. That I know, people have been trying to get to Celestia, like people who are trying to like glitch the game and stuff and fly their characters over there. They've been trying to get to Celestia for a long, long time. And originally, Celestia apparently was just a JPEG image. So it was just a JPEG image. However, I think sometime around Sumeru, it changed to being an actual CGI model. So it definitely seems like we'll be going up there at some point. So but of course, first we have to go to Natland, do that whole thing, then go to Shiznai and find out what they've been planning this whole time and why they keep stealing / trading / taking Gnosis, please.
Oh, it's just some chronic problem I have flaring up again. Nothing to worry about.
It's okay. Whoops. I was gonna say sit down, but you kind of missed. Alright, what are you getting out of here?
Everything we have is a blessing. Very good.
And we're gonna go to Shiznai and find out what's all going on with that. And then that will probably lead us into going to Celestia / Conria / dealing with the Abyss and hopefully reuniting with our sibling. What I would really like is for the sibling to become playable and then make it so like you could have both travelers on your team and they both will be able to like resonate with the different elements. So you could have like Animo Traveler on one and like a Pyro Traveler or Dendo Traveler or Electro Traveler and so on. And so you can do it that way. I think that would be really nice. And then they can kind of like, okay, now we're journeying around Cross Teyvat. And then of course that's going to be apparently the end of the Teyvat chapter, which will be chapter 1, and then they will continue on. Although I don't know exactly how they would be doing that. I know if we take Honkai Impact 3rd, for example, they could do it the same way they're doing Honkai Impact 3rd, where they had the whole thing with Kiana and all those characters, and then they kind of switched to a completely new thing with Mars, with new main characters and new stuff and things like that. And like, while the like Kiana and Theresa and a lot of the main characters from the first group are still there and are still doing and are still doing their thing, the story's not focusing on them anymore, which ends up being sort of interesting, because if they were to do that with Genshin, it would be kind of like, oh, would we continue with Ether and Lumine, or would it continue with Ether Lumine, or would it change to be like, oh, we're getting a completely new character to be the main star?
Hello. May the Animo Archon protect you.
I really think they should finish this area and just, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to just kind of continue the stairway up to the second balcony. You can technically get up there too. Let me go here.
Sure.
Are you sure it has to be me? Fine.
Hello. May the Animo Archon protect you.
Quake!
Squall and Fury.
So you can technically get up here, and they even have like pictures and stuff. It just takes a little bit of fandangling. You know, in fact, I think these pictures might actually be new. I don't remember these the last time I was up here. Then, of course, we have another stairway that we cannot go any farther with. Although, this one goes up into the ceiling. Like, those are the stairs to the attic, I guess.
Hello. May the Animo Archon protect you.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Personally, I think they should put like some tables and chairs and stuff to fill up to have this as be kind of neat. It's the same thing with the Dawn Winery. Like when you go into the Dawn Winery, you have all the everything's set up so nicely and fireplaces and couches and things like that. And then you go upstairs, and while there's like doors, you can't go in any of them, and there's like no furniture. They need a few more pieces of furniture upstairs. But again, it's one of those things of this is what it looked like when we created it, and we were trying to save space and so on and so forth. So something galvanized square steel. Yeah. All right. Well, it is getting late, and I streamed for longer than I thought I was going to, but that's good. That's still, I think, some decent decent streaming, and I got to talk to you, Jeannie. So that was really nice. All right. I need to go to bed though, so go back to chatting. Well, so thank you guys so much for coming. I plan on streaming a little bit on Sunday with Genshin, because again, we're having the Twitch event and things like that. I will probably stream Genshin on Tuesday evening and we'll do maybe a 10 poll on Siege Queen's banner and see what happens. Her story quest is also going to be starting, but I might do like part of it on stream and so on, but we'll have to see. I know with the second phase, the banners start, what is that, like 7 or 8? So it's not that late for me. So we'll have to see though. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys have a great rest of your great rest of your evening or morning, if it is depending on your time zone. And have a great weekend, and I will see you on Sunday, hopefully. As long as I'm not too tired. I planned on streaming last Sunday, and I was just like, I am just dead. I can't move. I was so busy over the weekend. I was gonna stream on Saturday. I forgot. I was gonna stream on Saturday, but I had stuff to do on Friday, and then Father's Day was on Sunday, and I was just completely bleh. So I hardly had enough strength to actually do my dailies. So, but anyway, all right. We'll see you later then. Bye. Thanks so much for coming. Bye, Jeannie. Bye, Zonope.